Get it.
All right. I think my audio levels look good. Somebody,
Test.
yeah, it's good. Okay. Five, a four, a three, a two. Hey everybody, welcome to League of Legends Anonymous, episode 200 and what, 51 now? Yeah, this is
Yeah,
51.
51.
It's
Yeah.
251 part A.
Part A.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
251.
doubling
It's
up.
part of a 8-part series. 251 part 1 through 8.
Part
Bonus
C.
9 and 10 D.
If we
So
if we do 250 part C, then we never have to get to like 300 and repeat what happened the
It's
last
true.
time we got
That's
together.
probably the best strategy we have.
yeah, we got some content we're going to talk about end of the year, and also crawdads and how to maintain their habitats. That
Nothing
may
more
come
important.
up. Yeah, it may come up. That will help you. D-tilt is staring at aquatic creatures for a while and then watching them in their filthy fucking tank that you can't get clean.
Speaking of which, I was thinking about this. Like, we have a moose is like the head of the fucking
Right.
Lola, right? Right.
Yeah.
You were saying that the crawdad is an invasive species,
No,
and there's nothing more Lola-ish than an invade. We
That's
should have maybe the
actually
crawdad's
legit.
time.
No,
it's
no,
to
what I
come.
was-
Maybe it's time.
What I was saying is that the crawdads in my hometown's creek are an invasive species and have taken over for like 30 years. Because that's the only crawdad I've ever seen in my lifespan. So
Really?
the invasion is complete. They moved in. They now just live here. So anyway, yeah. That being said, okay. So people ask me about the moose, right? Like this got asked.
Yeah,
by
I don't know the
co-hosts,
story of the
so
moose.
I figured I might as well stop, tell the story of the moose and why that's a thing, and then we can go on, right? Because I'm sure if you guys as hosts are curious, that there are listeners that are also curious about it, right? All right. So, long time ago, we were making graphics, right? And one of the graphics that we made for the podcast, we were like, well, how do we do like League of Legends Anonymous? Like, what says League of Legends Anonymous? And we didn't want to like appropriate AA's graphics or like appropriate like too much of like Riot's graphic, though we did for a little while because they kind of said they didn't care. But we're like, yeah, no, we can do better. We need to do something unique and something individual. So like, I had this picture that I made of Blitzcrank in his like definitely not Blitzcrank attire, right? And I put like a Hamburglar mask on him that I drew in paint and a couple other things to make him look more. No, it was a ski mask. That's what it was. It was a ski mask that I drew
Balaclava.
onto. And so we did that, and everybody like wrote in how much they hated that graphic, and we're like, "Well, motherfucker, like, what are we like? What? Okay, I get it. You don't like my graphics. It's anonymous." And then it was Halloween. I'm like, what am I supposed to turn it into? Like, if it's not Blitzcrank, and definitely not, because at the time that was the only definitely not skin. We're like, what's it supposed to be? And then we tied it to Halloween, and we're like, yeah, we're gonna go as the Anonymouses for Halloween, just a moose, and it's Anonymous, and
Anonymous.
nobody knows who this moose is, and it was like a meme for a while that is kind of loses its comedy when you explain it like 4 years later.
Yeah.
But it was a meme for long enough that when we got our new graphics guy in, which was Noel, Noel was making graphics and this was going on at the time, so he just incorporated a bunch of like antlery kind of references into the logo, and because it looks good objectively, it's just remained the logo for like 4 years. So that, friends, is why Lola Podcast logo looks like a moose antler. Like somebody thought it was like what are those spots where I like take ink and throw it in a piece of paper and I'm like, what is this? And you're like, it's a butterfly.
The
Something.
Rorschach.
Yeah, Rorschach test. It like a lot of people just thought it was like a Rorschach thing. that we just made a random bleh. And I'm like, nah, man, it's a moose antler. So there you go. That is why League of Legends Anonymous has moose antlers, and be disappointed. It's kind of like, did you ever understand why Team Liquid's logo is a horse and not anything
No.
liquid?
I've never understood that.
Okay, here's the story behind that.
All right.
Whenever Team Liquid...
League of Legends lore time.
Yeah, when Team Liquid first started in other games, not League of Legends, they their website had this like god-awful picture of like horses running down like a mountainside or something on their... I mean, it was like one of those pictures you see airbrushed on the side of a van. Like, it looked like that.
You know I have a
Horses.
van with a painting on it, right?
Yeah, of horses, airbrushed. Yes.
So are you saying that they
looks
appropriated
like
your van
Double's
for their
van.
logo?
This is what I'm saying. It looks like Double's van. So
I'm not even kidding.
they're unicorns?
No, I literally have an Octo Wizard painted graffiti style on the side of my van. I'll send you a picture.
I would literally love you to post that in the Discord.
It's on my Facebook page.
So, anyway, they have this like picture of these horses like running down a mountainside. It looks super majestic or whatever, but everybody gave them shit about it, and it became a meme that their website had these weird horses that had nothing to really do with liquid at all. And so it became so iconic that when they scrapped that website and they moved away from that airbrush painting, that they incorporated the horse into their logo as a throwback reference for their fans that would get that that's where it came from.
That's a much better meme than TSM's meme of gutting their entire franchise by a series of catastrophic mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and if they were true to their name,
Well-
there'd really only be one person out there running it down mid.
There is. There is.
Everybody-
I
Yeah,
mean,
there
the
is.
running down part down.
They
Like, nailed
rebuild
that.
around that guy every year. There is. So, I mean, no, everybody's got to have their shtick, though. You know? Like, Team Liquids is a horse, and TSM is kicking the most prolific ADC in the league off your team. You know, everybody has their thing.
Unbelievable. What the fuck?
Sven and Mithy unstoppable
Yeah, that worked out. So,
until the game started.
Unstartable.
Until Champ Select, yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we are going to talk about shit. It's into season climb time. But before I get
Yeah.
into that, I have one more thing. We have another review. So I'm going to read that. This review
Fresh
is
off the press.
Sorry Danger, posted on Monday.
Uh-oh.
I was the person y'all played against and said Astros was better than you. Don't worry, Danger.
Oh!
You'll get better at Zyra eventually. Just kidding. Love y'all. Hashtag Team Astros from definitely not Astros with a fake mustache, aka JD. Smiley face. Thanks, JD. Appreciate your review and your questionable taste in host choice. So, alright.
Hey, I mean, how many of the rest of us have a fan club? Let's be honest.
To be honest, I don't know how this happened, but I'm somewhat proud of the guy. You know? Anyway, thank you, man. I appreciate the 5-star review. From what I understand, that actually helps us a lot. So if you guys would keep going with the reviews, I would really appreciate it. And, you know, Patreon support and stuff like that really helps as well. So moving into the actual show, here we go.
I would
the
also
end of
like
the-
to point out that
Mhm.
my fan club will probably increase exponentially because Blake has switched me and Endeavorit's camera on the Twitch stream. So I have never fucking looked this good in my entire life, and I'm saucing it up.
Son of a bitch! I just changed that. And then
Endeavorit really let himself go.
Yeah, Endeavorit, what happened?
Man, like they say the camera puts on 10 pounds, but not like 10 years.
No shit, it's a lot more than 10 pounds.
There you go. Everything.
You owe me one, Endeavor. Thank you.
Everything's
Alright, yeah.
back to good. So, it's in the end of the season. We've got, what, a mere 40 days to reach your ranked goals?
I mean,
I'm not
client
there.
says 46 days, 6 hours, and 30 minutes. So,
Okay. So there's a very
I'll cut people
helpful,
short.
very helpful, no pressure added countdown timer in the client there. like a bomb defusal waiting to happen. And it's whether the end of your season goes boom or not. Some of you, like myself, are not at your goal. And the end of season is notoriously a terrible time to try to reach your goal because the game experience is super busted. And, people's mental is like literally
Shot.
dog shit. So, how are you going to climb? That's the topic today. How are we going to climb into season? What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? If we get around to it after this, we have a write-in question that we will bring up and talk about as well. But that's if we have time left. But the first topic is how the hell you gonna climb into your season? Before I go, do you guys have any tips that you want to throw out there?
All right, I'm gonna go.
Go for it. Hit it
We
up.
lied to you. You do not have 46 days. You've got 25 days. Because the last 20 days are absolute fucking dog shit for trying. And it's not. I honestly, my recollection of it is the mentality thing is 100% real. But the other fucking thing that's real, especially if you're like in a 1, if you're in gold 1 or you're in platinum 1 or silver 1, is fucking boosting. Like this is pro booster time. Like when you find a guy who's bronze 4, who's got an 85% win rate on, some incredibly technically difficult champion, just wrecking house. That's tough to deal with, and I think that also affects people's mentals. But you just got to stay consistent and adjust your fucking expectations.
So that right there, I want to talk about this. The conventional wisdom to end of season shit is that at the end of the season, the mental stuff, as long as you stay strong, mathematically weighs out in your favor. Because you have 4 players that can go mental boom. They have 5. Right? Like there's 5 available spots on the enemy team for somebody with weak mental. You have 4 if your mental is not weak. Statistically, as long as you're not your own worst enemy, quitters, ragers, all that shit should be more on the other team than on yours. Boosters, on the other hand, are literally the opposite effect. You have 4 open spots for boosters, 3 if you duo, and they have 5. So, I don't know what to tell you guys. I mean, boosters are just, there is the classic, and that we've said this God knows how many times, but it's like the 20-60-20 rule, or the 30-40-30 rule, where like there's a percentage of your games between 20 and 30% that are totally unwinnable. There's a 20 or 30% that totally you can't lose. And then there's the middle that is literally, it is dependent on your play what the outcome is, right? If you get a booster on the enemy team and they crush your ass and that's the game, yeah, it's frustrating, but it's less frustrating when you go, well, I guess that was in my 20%.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, but to be honest, like, how often do you guys find yourselves matching up against boosters?
I don't think, I mean,
Because I can't say that I like reliably can find them in my games.
I'm probably like biased on it because I do check end of game stats a lot, especially on frustrating games, to be like, what the fuck is going? You got a 45-second death timer. You're like, what the fuck is going on here? And I don't know. Maybe I think it's more prevalent than it is, just because like I have like self-affirmation. There's no way to know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like.
There's a few telltales like swapping summoners around or something like that, but
yeah, and I do look for that mostly to report because I'm an asshole.
for sure.
But it's just like a lot of times, but you got to realize like you got 4 people on your team and 5 people on the other team. Sometimes you get a booster on your team that you didn't even pay for. The other way to look at it is, from a profit standpoint, let's say you're paying $40 to bump a division. To maximize the profit margin on a company, these motherfuckers hire third world motherfuckers. So at the end of the day, if you're living in America, your life is better. Your real life's better. So you just got to focus on the fact that this motherfucker probably lives in like Honduras.
Are you literally making the argument that you're boosted RL? Like,
hey, whatever gets you through the day.
And did you
the bottom line is
simultaneously dog on third world countries?
that motherfucker with the 26-4, he sleeps on a grass floor. He ain't got personal hygiene and shit. He's got to go to the internet cafe.
Dude,
his mom is a hooker.
Hey, thanks for switching our faces back before we started saying this, because otherwise, this was all on me.
So, I'm just
first time he was like, "Holy shit, get him off of here!"
Say, at least I don't live in Venezuela, you booster motherfucker.
Like, two things. One, our stock just plummeted in Malaysia and every likewise country. We are no longer on their list. And two, I lost two. One was too shocking. It was, wow. Oh, yeah, two, now people are never going to forget that you're on the podcast. Enjoy.
Boom.
You're the guy that
you made your hard truths. Hard fucking truths.
No, but let's be honest. So you guys
kick
talking about boosters.
From fucking Taiwan.
His mother is a whore, and he sleeps on a grass floor. Okay, that's rough.
Hard truths.
It's amazing that this kid got to Diamond in the first place in those conditions.
For real. Respect.
I mean, mad props to that kid.
Plus, it's not a game. It's a line of work for him, so he can't be enjoying himself. You got to find the positives. Every gray cloud has a silver lining. You just got to find it. For me, it's imagining third world suffering.
No, see, but you guys are assuming, well, first off, that third world has a sufficient ping to like win a game on NA, but outside of that these boosters are going to have this magic touch to just always pop off every game. And honestly, I feel like some of the easiest people to tilt are people who believe themselves to be smurfing. And, they might legitimately be smurfing. But they go into that game thinking that it's so easy that the moment they, something goes wrong, they, like I did last game, don't activate their Tryndamere ulti and just get killed for no reason. Then they can start tilting off the face of the earth and they want to be out because they think it's already done and they just want to be onto that next game that they can feel like they win.
Okay, so I want to talk about that a little bit. The let me out mentality is something that if you're going to climb at the end of the season, stop.
Yeah, need to overcome that.
You've got to overcome that because there are so many games. Like, okay, let me ask you a question, listener. How many times have you been in a game that you were miles ahead and yet you didn't win because your team has no idea how to close out a fucking game? How many times? How many times has that happened to you? Why then do you think that if the enemy team is ahead, they will be able to easily and efficiently close out the game? How does that make sense? Right? Like, that's what kills me is the streamer mentality of like, go next. I can play 100 games today. This is just 1 in 100. Move on. Save my time. Go quicker. Surrender at 15. Right? Like, that is at an ELO bracket that people are excellent at transitioning leads into snowballs into avalanches. That does not exist below High Diamond.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Like, how many LCS games have you seen that was thrown at Baron? Mm-hmm. It's obviously it becomes less and less common. You go.
TSM Smithy.
No, but seriously, over like the last 2 years, I've been playing almost every game in silver to now getting to, play more towards high plat, low diamond. And it's, there is a marked difference, obviously, in the quality of play and the decisions that people are making, the execution on champions. But that overall macro, that ability to close out the game is not something that I see consistently. It's something that I can't do consistently, right? I have plenty of games where I smash lane, can be up 100 farm or more, and still it's not translating into a finished game.
Number one complaint and question that we get is, Dear LOLA Podcast, I get so ahead in lane. I smash every lane, but I can't seem to win the game. What do I need to do to transition that to winning the game? Number one question that we
Oh,
get.
for sure. I
If-
mean, if I had a 100% answer, I wish you'd tell me.
Yeah, if everybody,
Like you didn't tell him?
I,
Fuck.
yeah, maybe year 2. I don't know. We'll let him stick around for a while. That's the carrot on the stick, Double. Shut up.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Anyway, that's the thing though. Like, dude, if everybody knew how to do that, like, why do you assume that they do if the enemy team is ahead of you? It's not a given that your team's ever going to win. And if it's not, then why is it a given that the enemy team is going to win? Quit being a bitch. Like, that's just mental boom. And I mean, there are cases where literally, okay, they're crushing our inhibitors. It's 15 minutes in. It's 40-10, right? That's go next.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? So I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. Like, go next is a myth. It's not. What I'm saying is it's about 5 times less prevalent than, those real situations are 5 times less prevalent than the amount of surrender votes where people say, okay, go next.
The other
Well, I mean,
thing, oh, go ahead.
no, you do it.
I was gonna say, like, people are always like, "You're wasting my time," as if, like, on the side, people are like curing cancer.
Right.
Like, I take a break from my cancer curing project to play. Like, you are wasting these 10 minutes. These 10 minutes are so important. It's like, fuck your
See
time. Dude. You're
that
playing
beaker
video
over
games.
there on the table and the Bunsen burner? Like, I
If
gotta
I
pay
had 10
attention
more
to that.
minutes,
If I had 10
you-
more minutes, your
You
grandmother
are
would
literally
survive.
Cancer.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, man. Like, that to me is like, okay, this is put a fucking percentage to it. You're behind. The fact that you're behind at 10 minutes, how many times you lose the game? Being behind at 10 minutes. Is it 60-40?
I mean, if we probably sat down and looked at it, it's probably like maybe 55-45.
That was what I was gonna say. Yeah, that feels like an overshot at 60-40. It feels like about 55-45. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're at a 5% disadvantage. Is that worth just throwing in the towel for 5%? I mean,
Nope.
shit, some dumbass can lock some non-meta horse shit, and that'll drop your odds more than 5%. Do you dodge?
I think we're going to talk about that later. more
I
in
mean,
depth.
we will, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, what does
I
it
mean,
take you to dodge? Like, does somebody have to be toxic in the pregame? Does that drop you less than 5% on your win rate percentage? Think about it in terms of would I dodge? Rather than, like, if I would surrender, would I dodge? And
I see what you're
I don't think those two equate. You know what I mean? I don't think you'd be like, we're down at 10 minutes. I would have dodged. Like,
I mean, I don't know, man. That's not fair, though, because, like, there are plenty of games where if Riot gave me a reset button, I'd fucking hit that shit all the time. And those are games that I would have won. I mean, that's an emotional question, because it's like,
well, okay,
there's
keep in
plenty of
mind,
games where I see.
I'm also saying that a dodge is a less stiff penalty, so it's an easier button to
Oh,
hit.
yeah.
I'm just comparing the
Yeah, for
mentality for when you hit that button. Like, what
Yeah.
do you decide is an appropriate potential loss? Because I've sat in champs, and that is the next question that we're going to get at after all this, but I have sat in champ select and thought, I'm probably not going to win this game.
Yeah, is it worth sticking it out? Yeah.
Is it worth sticking it out? I mean, I've thought that. But, like, whenever somebody's, like, spamming surrender at 15, I'm thinking the same thing. I'm probably not going to win this game. Is it worth sticking it out? Can we realistically turn this around? And are they playing well enough that I think they can just close this out?
Well, yeah, and I think one of the things on top of that to look at, and this comes with, a little bit more experience or understanding how champions work in their power levels, is understanding if you're just getting dicked early inherently because of their composition. Like, how many lanes have you played into Teemo where you just wanted to kill yourself until, like, level 7 or 8 when all of a sudden, because you didn't feed, you can just smash him, right? Or you get a gank. Like, for example, in that Clash series, in our first day of tournaments, that third game, like, I mean, games 1 and 2, I did fine top. I didn't, like, hard pop off or anything, but, I had solidly done my job. Game 3, I was down, like, 0-4, like, pre 6 minutes. It was bad. Fiora could do whatever she wanted top, and on top of that, their jungler was sitting up top, and I wanted to be out of the game, and it was kind of one of those forfeit at 15 moments, but just sticking with it, eventually we got to the point where, I had a Bramble Vest, I had a Ninja Tabby, so all of a sudden, Fiora is no longer nearly as much of a threat, and Yorick just outscaled her, and, we as a team were able to turn her around because our power spikes came on later in the game.
Well, like, this one drives me nuts. I have a Vayne, a Kog'Maw, a Viger, a whatever, and it's like, oh, we're not ahead at 15. What did you expect to happen?
Yeah, and those still aren't free wins. Those still aren't free wins in the late game, but they do get a hell of a lot stronger. Yeah, for
like,
sure.
If you are playing a late game team comp, your chances of winning get better if you make it to the fucking late game.
Imagine that.
Yeah, it's just shocking news. So let's talk about that a little bit, because that is something I want to give as a piece of advice. At the end of season, if you can effectively play early game champions, it's better to.
Mm-hmm.
Simply because, while I'm trying to tell you not to surrender at 15, not everybody listens to the podcast. I will go out on a limb here and say that the early
that most people
surrenders-
don't listen to our podcast.
Yeah, I might go out on that limb too.
Well, we just lost the third world.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, we just lost the third world thanks to double, so now we have like 5 listeners. So anyway,
they didn't have Patreon money anyway.
We got 2 bales of hay donated as a Patreon reward. Like,
I was wondering who sent me that.
yeah. So it looks really nice outside. My wife put a pumpkin on it and a fall sign. So anyway, that being said, pick early game champions. If you can start that snowball early and you can get people to mentally boom and just throw their hands up in the air and say, oh, fuck it, go next, then you are more likely to just win the game by virtue of getting ahead. Win the game without having to win the game. If you can play those champions well, this is the time to probably do it.
Well, yeah, and I definitely think it's important at this point in the season to, kind of reevaluate your champ pool, because, what's been working for you for the first bit of the season may, have seen some changes. Maybe the counter matchups to your champion have seen some changes. Obviously, what are we on, like 9.19 now? So obviously there's been 19 opportunities just this season for things to totally change around your champion. And not that you wouldn't be aware of that in the meantime, but just, taking a second look to kind of reevaluate. Like last season, towards the last few months, I switched from mainly playing Alawi to mainly playing Urgot. That also happened to be the point at which Urgot kind of got recognized in the LEC, and then he became super meta across, all of League. But still, it was a huge difference in play style, but at the same time, just picking up that more effective, safer early game champion made a huge difference and, allowed me to climb by like 2 tiers at the end of last season. So that's definitely something, worth doing is, look at those early game champions and see what's in your pool, and see what's been buffed recently or what, might look a little bit sleeper. Like, Annie has been getting these small tweaks lately. She's probably a lot stronger than people realize. People are so used to normal Annie that's been around forever that, maybe you can surprise someone.
Take it into normal or flex though first. I mean,
definitely.
Just a little disclaimer there, but I agree.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think you have a lot of time to take it into normal or flex because you got like 40 days. What I'm saying is, if you already have an early game champion that you're already pretty good with, now is probably the time to go ahead and make that happen. So switch your focus from like late game shit to early game shit, period.
I mean, there's another option too. Like, I think with like the horizon in view, there's sort of like an end point to this chunk of time where you can play ranked, and people want to put like this emphasis on it. And in this season, it's never been true, more so in this season, that this season is completely fucked. So one of the pitfalls is if you've been spending the whole season doing what we've been telling you to do the whole time, which is don't worry about your fucking rank, worry about individual improvements. This is a great time for you over the next 6 weeks to completely relearn all of your horrible habits, chasing something that really at the end of the day doesn't mean a whole lot. You know what I mean? The bottom line is there's always going to be another season. Riot's got a little bit of money. I think they're going to be okay. So be mindful of like your overall progress. You know what I mean? Just because the season ends on November doesn't mean you should be going back to the player you were at the beginning of the season. That's way worse, than some trick. They don't even give you anything cool, especially if you have honor levels like I do. You get jack shit. So just stay focused on that too. Don't lose track of the overall goal here is to just make yourself a better player. And the fact that, that victory or defeat scene at the end doesn't really dictate that much. That's a result. We're here to grind and get better as a player. And a lot of times you learn a lot when you lose a game. So that's another thing to be mindful of, in my opinion.
So, like, for me, and that's objectively what you said is absolutely fucking true. And it doesn't matter one bit. Because people have the goal in mind, they're looking at the checkered flag, it's impossible to be like, but how much have I improved? When they want that benchmark, they want that shiny border, they want those things, right? And for me, it's that. Like, dude, I've been diamond for forever. I want to be there again. I don't feel like I have gotten objectively worse at the game to the point that I'm no longer capable of crusting, right? But this season has been fucking hellish for me. That being said, I am going to do my best to get back there. It is a milestone for me, and for a lot of people, they feel the same way, right? But the catch is, like, you are not vesting yourself in a game. You're not vesting yourself in a series of games. You're investing yourself in a marathon race to the end of the season. Some days you're going to go 1-3, some days you're going to go 3-1, right? The catch is you have to be understanding that 51% will get you there. And then at that point, it's about putting in the effort and putting in consistent gameplay. But you also have to be mindful of like short-term tilt streaks. What do you guys think? Like opinions, right? Is it, do we grind or do we do short-term bursts, or do you play as long as you don't lose, or like how do you guys control short-term tilt versus like need to make progress?
So for me, I generally, if I'm playing well, then I'll, and winning, obviously I'll keep playing. I will have games that I win, and I kind of look back and I'm like, wow, that really didn't have much to do with me. Maybe I didn't feed, but, I can look back at 4 or 5 different times where things could have gone very sour if, luck hadn't have been in my favor. And I might, say, okay, one more game, keep the lucky streak alive. If I stop losing, then I really start evaluating why I'm losing and, kind of decide then whether or not I'm going to quit. So if I lost and I feel like, that I could have played a lot better, then that's probably when I'm going to step away. It's like, okay, did I play poorly and lose? Then yeah, probably not my time to keep playing. Because often if I recognize that I'm doing well, that starts to tilt me a little bit because I know that I could do differently. But if I played, really well and just was one of those games, right, where your bot lane gets steamrolled and there's nothing you could have done about it top, well, those games, for the most part, if I have the time and I'm not too down about my bot lane, I'll wait a few minutes to make sure I don't get them back in my lobby, and then I'll, hop back in. So for me, it matters a lot more how I performed in the previous game rather than the result of the game. But obviously the result of the game, will sway it pretty, to a certain degree, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I'm more likely to play after a loss where I played well than after a win where I played poorly.
Double?
I mean, it's a double-edged sword.
Double.
Like, you know when you're tilted. Everybody knows when they're tilted. I know when I'm tilted, and that's probably what the allure of this game is to a certain extent in terms of it's an addictive game. It's like I've never played a game where it's like even the shittiest experience just draws you back in more so than a big win. So it's just, I mean, like I want to sit here and say, oh, you should recognize tilt, and to the people that can do that, and I can do that from time to time, but like I've been playing on tilt for the last 3 days. I mean, I'm on flex, so I don't really give a fuck, which is nice. I'm not tanking the account that I care about, but at the same time, like I know it's on tilt, and I'm like, I need to break it up, I need to mix it up, I need to play TFT, I need to do norms, and listen to those things. And I'm going to give people advice that I'm not following right now, but I think it's a little bit different because I'm trying to climb and flex, which in itself is because I'm still somewhat apprehensive about trying to climb on solo duo the way that things have been going lately. I've just had a lot of really bad. I mean, like me and Blake have been playing solo. I had a fucking singed. No, sorry, I had a Kled. Top lane, platinum. He made it to platinum. And
Nice.
his lane opponent is a singed, and he chases the singed. He chases this man, this beast with a big fucking thing on his back that spews shit. And the Kled says, I don't understand how I'm dying. He's not auto-attacking me. And it's just like, bud, what? Why are you here? Why are you here?
Rude awakening when he
What are you
discovers
doing
mages.
here?
I mean,
What?
top 8%.
I mean,
And then me
How-
and Blake played that game. Do you remember this
How
game?
do you die without auto attacks?
We had a Kate mid, we had a Draven and some other support bot, and a fucking Mundo top. And he's mad because I'm camping mid and bot lane and not him. And it's like, dude, you are not
Him is
like
the Mundo in this situation for clarity.
what are you doing? Like, do you not? How did you get here?
Mundo wanted you to go where he pleased.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, I'm not. I don't know why you feel like I'm obligated, or you have like an expectation that I'm just gonna like you're
He just
entitled. It's an entitlement.
He just hasn't played
issue.
top lane long enough. You'll
It's like
never
you
get
feel
jungle
like
lane.
you're entitled to a jungler that just does whatever the fuck you want him to do, in spite of all reason and logic and common sense that says feed the fucking Draven or feed the Katarina. But nope, Mundo is the win condition. So you can see I'm still a little bit tilted on solo duo, which is why I'm not playing it. So I guess I am following my own advice, and I'm not a hypocrite in that sense. Only in all the
No.
others.
Well, I mean, I'll just tell you this. Like, there's 3 seasons ago, maybe. I don't remember. It was like 3 seasons probably. And it was the first season where I played Bardley Legal, my Smurf. And, like, I was playing through Silver, and I didn't have any issues, like, none. And I played super fucking well. And, I mean, yeah, you're going to lose some games or whatever, but, like, just moving straight up the ladder, not an issue. Then I got through gold, and then, like, I'm on this, like, horrifically badass win streak, like, it's nothing. And then finally I looked up, and I'm like, wait, what level's my main? Because I played my Smurf for a long time. Like, I was trying to learn some champion or whatever, right? And I was like, man, what? I haven't played on my main in a while. What level's my main? I'm like, holy shit, I'm 2 divisions past my main. Like, on my Smurf, I was whatever, gold, whatever. And then on my, it wasn't 2 seasons ago, it was many more, I guess, now that I'm thinking about this. But I was, like, higher ranked than on my main account. And it was easier, and I was playing better. And the reality is, it's because I cared less about the outcome.
Well, that's what, for a while there in the season, I was ranked higher in flex than I was in, try-harding solo duo. Like, I hit, like, plat 2 while I was still stuck in, like, low plat 3 on my main, on the solo duo ladder.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely part of it. And I think part of it, too, is, like, if you're... Sorry, this is going to switch gears a little bit, but it's like, if you're in the middle of your tier, As far as season rewards go, it doesn't matter if you are Plat 4 0 LP or Plat 1 99 LP. You're getting the same rewards.
Mhm.
You know, it doesn't change there. So honestly, unless you're at like real risk of demotion out of, your tier overall, like if you've lost 4 games in a row at Gold 4, then, that's definitely a time to evaluate how much more you want to play for the season. But, if you're sitting, anywhere with any sort of LP in, in the 4th, 3rd, or even like 2nd division, it's like, how much harm can a loss really do to you? You don't have to care that much, when you're in the middle there. Get into the 1st division and then really start, I would say lasering in on, getting those wins. But, you have some room to work there, right? And, you'll know where you peaked for the season. You'll remember that. So it's not a huge difference. And, like, even if you check, like, a stat site like op.gg, they don't tell you whether or not they were Plat 1, 2, 3, or 4 last season. They just say that you were somewhere in there, right? So, it's not going to matter too much exactly where you finish.
Actually, I think it does.
It does? Are you sure?
I hate to blow your thing, but I think it does, yeah. Here,
Okay.
I'm going to look at op.gg real quick, but I'm about 99% sure it actually does. Yes, if you hover, it will say what spot you were and how many LP.
Wait. Oh, if you go onto the individual profile?
Yeah, if you go to the individual profile, and like mine says, Season 7 Diamond, Diamond 5 92, Season 8 Diamond, Diamond 4 20.
Oh, so it does. Yeah, I was going to say, because, mostly when I'm referencing it, I'm just looking at the...
Overall,
like
just look
at the
tag.
in-game, at the in-game thing where you hover and it just says, the division that they were in.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, yeah, so I guess you can hone in on it, but even then, no one really cares that much. I mean, you might personally, but you'll know that you were, maybe, a higher LP at some point during the season than when you finished
keep in mind, and Double touched on this, and I think he didn't even touch on it, he just straight up said it. Dude, rank is about how good you are. Like, that's what it is. It's you need to, however good you actually are is not often and always represented by your rank. Anybody who thinks that it is, all right, I guess to a certain degree, like, yeah, it shows where you can peak and where you are at the specific moment. The more games you have played, the more accurate you are in the ballpark of your actual rank, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you can do it and you know that you can be higher than where you are, don't stress about where you are.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, that's how you lose. Like, for me, right?
Or getting too comfortable at how hard you are compared to someone else, right?
Yeah. Like, for
going
me,
into
like,
that game.
I know I'm a diamond player. I've proved it for several seasons. I'm at the end of my ranked season. If I stress about a loss in Plat 3, then I'm going to have a harder time winning the next game and the next game and the next game when those games should be whatever. I mean, it's just part of the travel, right? Like, worry about the road, not every bump in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, okay. I feel like we've beaten this to death for 43 straight minutes. So let's hit our other question, because I think that's actually a pretty good one. The other question is from Sweetie Pie. Hey, you guys think you could do a segment on learning to recognize to dodge a ranked game in Champ Select? Yeah. Yeah, we can. And it's right now. First things first, in Champ Select, if anybody talks about your team like Double talks about third world countries, get the fuck out of that game right away. Number one. All right. Number two, if somebody's flaming about the previous game in your lobby, it might not be a bad idea to dodge, because they're going to play like shit. Non-meta strange picks, I think, are a double-edged sword that cuts either way. If they have a ton, like op.gg them, and if this is their first time playing, I don't know, what the fuck would be a weird one?
Swain support.
Swain support. Or,
which is very popular right now.
yeah, I was going to say that one's not a great example. Like Lulu Jungle. If it's their very first time,
I got fucked by a Lulu Jungle like
I
2
know.
days ago.
I was there.
Yeah.
It was in attack speed Lulu Jungle.
Yep, I
remember.
was there too.
So, but if it's their first time playing Lulu Jungle, all right, maybe let that one go, right? But if it is their 300th game of playing Lulu Jungle, Faith, clearly they probably know what they're doing.
And before we get ahead of it, let's break down this process. So, op.gg is a great website. I've used it a bunch. And in fact, the first podcast I ever did with this, I talked about this technique.
Mm-hmm.
Go to op.gg. There's a little search bar, and it'll make sure you're in the right region. NA is the default for me, but like a lot of times when I first used it, it put me in Korea for some reason. So make sure that is. You copy and paste right when it says boom, 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 join the lobby, or whoever it is, join the lobby. You copy all of that shit, and you probably have to use your Control-C or Control-V because I don't think you can right-click in the chat. So use your keyboard shortcuts. Go to op.gg, and it will say name 1, name 2, ... Paste that list into there, and you will get a mini sort of breakdown of your team.
Mm-hmm.
You will find out what they main. You will find out what their win-loss streak is over the last game. That's really good. I used to use Mobalytics. They had a really good pregame lobby that told you about hot streak. I haven't used that in a bit, and I don't know if they've gone to full pay because I was using it in beta now. But they had a really good one too.
Yeah, Porofessor has a very similar one, and they offer a few more kind of insights, you could say. They might say that this person's on a cold streak, hot streak, or that their win rate dips after a loss and they just lost, something like that. But by and large, same thing, copy paste in that pregame chat.
It'll tell you if they're a main, and you can sort of see if there are these red flags in there that are like, maybe I need to look more at their history and see if they're on an 8-game loss streak. That's bottom line is, and this is another piece of advice that I've sort of fallen off on. You should dodge at least 1 game a day. Like, dodging is a tool that you should use. The shitty part about it is that you have no way of knowing whether it was right or not. So at the end of the day, you might as well convince yourself that it was the right move to make, because that's better for your mental anyway. You will lose only dodge 1 a day. You will lose 3 LP. If you do more than that, it starts to become a problem.
So I have dodged games that I thought, yeah, absolutely no doubt should have dodged that game. More often, I don't dodge games, and then I get into the game, and the guy is continuing the same shit they were doing in the pregame lobby, and I'm like, motherfucker, why did I not dodge?
Could have called that, yeah.
And so, first thing, go with your gut, man. You need to go with your gut on these things. If you feel like somebody, keep in mind, the margin of winning or losing games, 51% makes you climb. If that son of a bitch is going to drop your win percentage down by, 10%, think about it this way. How good would you have to be to win 60% of your games at your ELO? It would be substantially better, right? So to make up for that asshole, you have to play that well.
Yep.
I don't want to put that on me. I don't want that to be my new standard for winning. So, yeah, if I get the sense that, this guy's going to be a problem or this guy's not going to win, and I put very little stock into weird picks or non-meta shit. Because if you're playing non-meta shit, you probably know you're non-meta shit.
Mm-hmm.
I think it depends on your elo too.
Well, and there's a reason for the meta.
In platinum or diamond, off-meta picks aren't that as worrisome as if you're in silver 4. Ashe. Ashe is the hot shit right now because she just got that auto attack reset and all this other stuff. If you see a guy in your games who's picking meta, you got to be worried about fresh on the meta stuff too, because a lot of these new players in lower elo think that that's a free win.
Or watching Worlds right now, and they're like,
yeah. So they will take the they will assume that their lack of proficiency on the champion and their lack of experience on the champion will be made up for the champion's space on the meta. And that happens a lot in silver. So the folks that are trying to get into gold, be careful and double check those folks who are using the fresh hotness to make sure that they're not just, running it in the dirt thinking that it's a free low. And I think that's more of a low-key thing. The lower you are, the more you got to worry about people playing weird shit or people playing shit that they think is busted.
And shit that just came out of Worlds.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If I see somebody logging in Heimer ADC right now because UOL played it, I might dodge that game. Because I know that guy doesn't have the games in to know how to play that champion.
And Heimer's pretty fucking busted.
He is.
But
but he's not a free win.
He is not a free win. He's a tough champ to play.
Especially replacing something like an ADC with, a very different playstyle champion.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's like 2 or 3 seasons ago when all of a sudden Misfortune support came out specifically to counter Zyra.
Yep.
Exactly. And it was always played with Ashe because of, the ult synergy. But within an hour of that game happening, I saw my lobbies keep getting filled with all these MF supports, picking them with a Lucian, picking them with a Varus. Which I guess Varus wouldn't be the worst. But
yeah,
point is, it wasn't picked in the same situation. It didn't perform the same.
Yeah, it was hard
because they don't have the experience.
Worlds or whatever because of that matchup. That's it. Mm-hmm. And people just thought, oh my god, it must be super broken. And nope. It just dominates one specific heavily meta matchup. So anyway, all right. So that would be one thing. Going back to the how do I improve my potential to win? Fucking mute all. Just do it. Just mute all right away. Get that chat off. Let the game become a computer game instead of a social experiment.
And I learned something. You could just turn off allied chat. I had no idea that was a setting.
Yeah, I had mine accidentally turned off the other day.
You don't have to just type mute all. You can go into the settings and make that the default. I don't know if that's a new thing, because I remember looking for it way back, and it wasn't. Mm-hmm. But I did smoke a lot of pot, so my memory is fucked up. Like, I can't remember shit.
But, yeah, actually...
Blake knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. He did
the other Blake. Fuck you.
Oh my god, you're right. It is 2 Blakes in here.
Yeah, I know you're not.
That was the essence of the joke. See which one would bite first.
I don't know. Do you remember?
I can't remember shit. I don't even remember what we're talking about.
We were talking about turning off allied chat, which I'm having a hard time finding in the.
Yeah, it's under interface.
I'm under interface.
Oh, your interface! Oh,
I'm under her face. Actually,
it's
Cha-cha!
It was in there.
Show allied chat.
Yeah,
there it is.
It's down at the bottom, right above the emote.
Down at the bottom.
So yeah,
show allied chat.
So it says show all chat, show allied chat, show timestamps. I'm just gonna go ahead and turn both of those off.
If you mute everybody, make sure you keep your timestamps on though.
Yeah, I'm turning both of those off right now for the rest of the season. Don't need it.
All right.
Here's the thing. Nobody's going to type useful shit to you.
I mean, I've had some positive experiences with chat, but the ratio of positive chat experiences to getting my ass flamed is not even close. You know what I mean?
If you're playing with Astros, you need to leave chat on because he will refuse to communicate verbally with everybody in the room. So that's an exception as well.
So that way you know when you have the chops to report him. Is that what you're saying after the game?
I'm honor level 5.
That's really good. Did Astro show up? So
I have fans.
I love Astros. My mustache tickles. Yeah. Anyway, I love it. We can rip on the guy who's not even here. So Astros fans, let him know you care.
He's been in the podcast the whole time. He's just been refusing to talk to us.
Okay, that's funny because background story. We played a game and Astros tilted so hard he shut everything down. Wouldn't type, wouldn't talk. Or no, he didn't.
Wouldn't even talk to John. Wouldn't even talk to John. Not even John.
Wouldn't even talk to John. His stepdad came in. He's like, "Hey, buddy, how are you doing, champ?" He's like,
all you hear is pounding.
Yeah. So like yeah, he went full off the deep, like hard typewritering his keyboard, and it would have been amusing if we weren't like getting our asses pounded during that game. But you know, so be it. But like, don't do that. Don't do that to your friends. If you go
Here's a
duo
tip.
with somebody, don't surrender unless you check with your partner first.
If
That
your
is-
lobby has 3 or more members of the podcast in it, and at the end of the game it's fucking crickets,
something has
something
gone
ain't right. Something ain't
horribly
right.
fucking wrong. Because like, yeah, we're a talkative bunch. So, all right, guys, 55 minutes. I'm gonna wrap this out.
No, I'm telling my story.
Tell
Fuck
it.
you. This is my lawyer story.
Preach.
So this is like the greatest thing that happened to me all week. Like this woman, we're gonna call her Ebony. That's not really her name, but she got this speeding ticket for like 97 and a 60. And I'm a lawyer, and to get a reduction on that, to like get that not a 97 to 60, you got to do like community service, volunteer work, driving school, all this shit. This bitch did nothing. And she refused to do it. She told me, she's like, I ain't got time for that. I ain't doing that. Ebony is black. I just didn't know if y'all know. Just spoiler alert. I didn't know if the name made that happen. But she's like, I ain't doing that. I ain't got time to do all that. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to be able to reduce your ticket. Your license is going to get suspended. So please do this. I will continue your case for 6 months more. Way more than it should have been, to give you an opportunity. She still refused. So we had to finish her case. I got her the best deal I could. And she writes me this fucking Google review. It says, worst attorney ever! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation. Do not use him. I would give him 0 stars if I could. And that bitch put me on tilt. I was ready. I found out where she worked, too. I was ready to go down to the movie theater where she's a ticket salesman and find a way to fuck her life up, because I'm this kind of man. I like revenge fantasies. But I bided my time. I was like, you know what? This bitch going to get that letter from the DMV real soon. She going to get it. And that's what happened on Tuesday. She got her letter from the DMV. And, like, she put her first name on the Google review. And it's, like, her name is not spelled, like, it's not like John Smith. Her name is fucking Ebony. I don't represent many people named that. And that's not a real name. Her name was even more unique.
Yeah.
And so I knew it was her.
Yeah.
I'm like, bitch, I know who this is. And she changed her name on Google so that the review wouldn't show up under her and called me up. Oh, hey, you remember me? I'm like, yes, I do remember you. Oh, I got this letter from the DMV, and they suspended my license. I was like, oh my God, it's almost like what I told you would happen actually happened. It's almost like I predicted this, like a Nostradamus moment for you, and you refused to listen to me. She's like, well, I need some legal assistance so I can get back on the road. I said, so you want to hire me as an attorney? You want me to be your attorney? And she said, oh, yeah. I said, well, I'm fucking confused. I didn't say fucking, but I was like, bitch, I'm confused. I didn't say bitch. I was like, I'm confused. I looked her in the windows of her soul. I said, bitch. No, I said, well, Ebony, I'm confused because I'm reading this here review. It says worst attorney ever. Do not use. Would give 0 stars if I could. Click. She fucking hung up. It's the best. It's one of the best moment of the year.
Yeah.
Legal moment of the year for me. It was so satisfying.
I've got one. I had a client threaten to beat the judge with her shoe
In court?
in court.
What kind of shoe?
actually-
Did she say, Your Honor,
Okay,
I
so-
am about to be...
All right, background. Here we go. I have a client. She's got, let's say, 5 kids, because I'm making things up so I can obfuscate who I'm actually talking about, right? And those kids have disabilities. They live in a home, right? That's not hers. And
Like
they've
all
aged-
5 of them?
Yeah, for the sake of this. Sure.
Of course.
Like, it's not actually 5 kids, but they are disabled and they do
17
live
shifts.
Like a
17
broke ass
kids,
Brady
17.
Bunch
Right.
with one parent.
So they live in a home. The home hates mom. They hate her because everything that they do for her kids is not good enough. She's one of those moms, right? And so they're looking for ways in which they can get mom the hell out and only have to deal with doctors and shit. And so they finally get it one day, and I know nothing about this. So I'm coming onto the case, and I am told this. Hi, Blake. We're 2 nice people. We have kids that are profoundly disabled that we need to get guardianship up because we forgot when they turned 18 that we would need to do that because now they're adults. Said, sure, no problem. Just so everybody knows, 99% of the time, I file the paperwork and that just happens. Because there's no one else wants to do the job. So...
And if they're 18, you don't get a check for them anymore.
Right. So it's like, it's not a big deal. You just got to manage and make sure that they're okay, and somebody's got to look after their doctor stuff. And okay, we'll appoint their family to do that. That's nice. And that happens like almost virtually automatically, right? You just have to ask, and then it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So I file. And then I get a counter petition from the public administrator, who is literally on the ass bottom of the totem pole in terms of everyone else above him has to not qualify before he gets involved, right? But he wants to get involved. Why? Because the facility wants him to get involved. I'm like, how bad did you piss these people off? Right? So I go to court, and I do my whole spiel that I do with people whenever they go to testify, hey, this is how you give effective testimony, body language, speak confidently, don't be meek, and don't get angry, and, don't do things that would be stupid because it makes you look unbalanced, right? But I don't say, what to say, just,
how to say it.
Say it, right? Make yourself effective. And so I'm going through all this, and Mom is not listening at all. She's counting ceiling tiles, she's asking me inane, dumbass questions. Dad's listening. And I say, all right, Dad, you're going to testify. Mom, you're not. Because I only need one of you. So I'm just going to have Dad testify. Where I fucked up is I didn't think to say, and Mom, you're not coming to court. Because I just wasn't going to put her on, right? So they're both on the petition. They can come. So I do my case. I put Dad on. He testifies to, oh, yeah, we've taken care of these kids. Oh, yeah, everything's good. We're just formalizing something that we've already done for 20 plus years. We've taken care of these kids. Okay, cool. Everybody's, good job, Dad. We're winning. We're going to win. Judge even said so after this whole thing was over. He's like, you were winning right up until we rest. Other attorney gets up. He's like, I call to the stand.
Oh, no!
Mom. And I go, oh, fuck.
So if Mom's not there, does she not get called?
No,
she can't.
They would have had to have subpoenaed her.
Yep.
They didn't. I didn't put her on because I'm not going to put her on as a witness. She wasn't paying attention at all to all the spiel I gave her. So they call her. She's there. She comes up, sits down in the stand. And she's sitting there. She looks nervous. She's already crunched over. Things aren't going to go well. I can already tell. So the very first question, isn't it true, ma'am, that you beat your daughter with a shoe? I'm like, what? My client, not nearly as amused or confused as I am, sucks in a breath through her teeth. Like this. And I go, oh God, that's never going to be good. Nothing that comes out of your mouth after you do that is going to be positive. So she goes and hisses it. I have never beat my daughter, but I tell you who I would beat, and that's you and you and you. And I go, oh, fuck.
And one of these people included the judge.
No, these three people were the attorney that was asking her questions, the attorney that represents her children that was sitting next to the guy, and the judge. Those are the three people that she said she would.
Solid choices.
Yeah, good choices.
I mean, it would have been better if you were included in it, because then she would just look unhinged. Just bitch, point me, beat you.
Everybody. But the kids, not the kids, but everybody else.
Is it too late to amend my petition and remove her? Anyway. So I'm like, oh shit. We lose. This isn't going to go well. And it actually went downhill from there because...
No.
Yeah, no. She's on disability, and they ask, what's the nature of your disability? right?
My hand is sore from.
Well, she's
My children have plantar warts on their forehead.
Yeah,
It's the
no.
strangest thing.
she's legitimately disabled, but she won't tell them what her disability is. She's like, it's none of your damn business.
Mm.
And I'm like, you can't. Okay. So I'm going to stand up and I'm going to wait. Just, they're asking for this reason. Go ahead and answer the question. It's fine. Before I can stand up, the guy asks, he says, "This, ma'am, I'm asking you for, you're asking for custody of children. I got to make sure that you're capable, that your disability wouldn't impact your ability to take care of these kids. So I need to know what's the nature of your disability." None of your damn business. So I start to stand up at that point again. Then the judge goes, no, guys, it's all right. It's all right. I got this. Ma'am, I'm going to ask you, what is the nature of your disability? Who are you to ask me about my disability? And I'm like, oh, shit. He's like, I am the judge. And he gets all red-faced and pissed. And I'm like, just answer the question. She's like, oh, I have hearing loss in my left ear, and I have reading comprehension issues, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, my God, this is the worst. So here's what actually happened with the shoe beating, right? Because I'm sure you're curious, like, how did she beat her kids with shoe, right?
This is the first time you've ever stretched out a story inordinately long, so we're with you.
Yeah, I've got you on the hook at this point, like a crawdad.
This has never happened before.
Yeah. So, how did she beat this kid? I tell people, word choice paints pictures of stories. Like, you imagine what happens based on the words that you choose to relate your story. It was summer. It was hot outside. They were wearing those 99-cent flip-flops that you buy at Walmart that you'd go take a shower in, or that you'd wear to the pool, and that you really don't care if you lose it because it's 99 cents and it's literally made out of Nerf foam. You know those ones? Right?
They have them in third world countries.
Yeah, they make floors out of them in third world countries.
Mm-hmm. That's what boosters sleep on. Piles of old, discarded Walmart flops.
Yeah. So they had those. And they were goofing around in the hallway. So they're flip-flop fencing. Just having fun time, smacking each other with the flip-flops. Oh, hee, 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 hee. She catches her daughter flush with the sole of the flip-flop, and it hits her arm, and it makes a loud popping noise. It doesn't hurt her. It doesn't leave a mark.
Daughter should have parried.
The arm makes a pop.
Do what?
She should have.
Was it the daughter or the shoe that was making the popping noise?
No, the shoe. Like it.
Okay. Wasn't sure if you meant like her shoulder, like huge popping noise.
No, like it hit flush, and it just made
a
noise, right? And
wait, can you do that a few more?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like one of those.
We're good.
And daughter, keep in mind, these kids are profoundly disabled. And whenever I say that, I mean they have like the mentality of a 4-year-old. Like that's where they're at.
No wonder she was bad at fencing.
Yeah. She couldn't parry. You learned that at 5. So
I did.
She gets caught on the arm. She looks over at her arm. She gets scared and has a freak out. Like she starts like that. Mom goes, oh my God, and then like grabs her by the other arm, and she's like, it's okay, it's fine, you're not hurt, blah 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 blah. And as she's saying all these things, holding a flip-flop in her right hand and grasping the girl on the arm with the other hand, the nurses, who hate her, hear the commotion, turn the corner, and it looks like she's threatening to continue beating her.
Assault with a deadly flip-flop.
Yep. Heinous. So, yeah, that's how the "isn't it true, ma'am, that you beat your daughter with a shoe?" question gets asked.
Props to the other attorney. Way to frame it.
Yeah, no, it was great. I had no idea that was coming, because when I specifically asked them the question, is there anything that the other side or the facility would say about you that you've done wrong or has gone badly or would be brought up to make you look bad? Nope. We're perfect parents. I certainly haven't ever beat my daughter with a shoe. Like,
just like when your '06 Laner is like, oh, I didn't lose. There's nothing I could have done differently.
He literally does nothing.
Yeah. So that's mine. That's my probably worst story.
All right, Endeavor, what's your favorite law story?
I mean, I went to court for the first time this week, and that
Fucking
was
criminal.
just so fun.
Criminal.
Oh, he prevailed.
Yeah.
This week. He knocked it out of the park.
Nice.
Well,
work.
I mean, I just
Whoa.
kind of...
Did you represent yourself?
He did.
Yeah, you fucked it all up. You could have gotten a way better deal if you'd gotten a fucking attorney, people. Don't listen to this guy. You representing yourself is a fucking bad move. You got lucky, son. Number one. Okay? You're lucky you didn't go to jail. If you don't hire a fucking attorney, even for a basic traffic ticket, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for trouble. You heard it here first. Blake, tell him again so they hear it here second.
I second that. He's right.
Yeah. No, wait, Blake, you told me not to get an attorney. You specifically told me not to get an attorney for this.
What the fuck?
In fact, you should call my office and get a second opinion for a reasonable price.
No.
He had a driving while suspended, or driving without insurance, and he had insurance. So
hire an attorney.
Not hard.
It's cheap. Look, the lower the crime, the cheaper the attorney.
I know, but I literally couldn't have gotten a better result.
He did.
Are you qualified to make that determination?
Pretty sure.
Are you qualified?
Blake is.
Believe it or not, he did fine.
I'm just fucking with him.
Very proud.
I just don't want to perpetuate the idea that people should be representing themselves.
No.
No.
It's
Well,
bad.
and that's the thing, is like, with the arraignment, I had the option, if I didn't want to take whatever deal they had, to just lawyer up at that point.
The only other people that can do that are Flop Lady, because obviously hiring Blake was the bad call, and they would have done better.
Yeah, that was. Oh no, the best part.
No, they literally would have done better by not showing up to
Hold on,
court.
the best
At
part.
least
Good
one
night,
of them.
everybody! I'm just kidding.
She comes back to me because this is why this story triggered in my mind. Was you read her the Google review part?
The Google review, yeah.
So she came back to me like a year and a half later, and she's like, "I think we're ready." I was like, "Ready for what?" I want to try for guardianship again. Keep in mind, I've gotten nothing but shit about this case for like 6 months after it happened. Like the judge would see me in the hallway and be like, "Don't beat me with a shoe," and So this has been like a running gag in the courthouse for some time, and this is just a year and a half later. She wants to go back and do it again, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I don't think that's a good idea. Like, have you, like done parenting classes or like done anything to take care of disabled kids or like build your, resume for this?
You destroyed any of your flip-flops? Do you still have flip-flops?
still have
Access
shoes?
flip-flops in the house?
Do you just not wear shoes? Like, because that would be better. But like, she's like, "Oh no, we haven't done anything like that. But we just think that we would do a better job." And I was like, "Okay, I'm not taking your money because you're not going to win. Right? And I don't think it would be a good idea for you to pay me if you don't have a chance to win." Right?
Dude. Good dude.
I was like, "Don't do it." And she was like, "Hey, I just want you to know though, like, we don't blame you. It's not your fault that we lost." And I was like, what? Yeah, I know.
I know that.
I was like, "Thank you though. I know." And she's like, No. She's like, "No. Even though you don't have a lot of experience." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "I've done hundreds of these cases. You threatened to beat the judge with a shoe. What the fuck are you?"
Hey, she knew you weren't sleeping easy over that
I was like,
case.
"It's not your fault. It's not your fault, man."
All right, recap it up. Thank the Patreon people.
Yeah, thanks guys. Appreciate your Patreon support.
And fuck you if you didn't, except for the guy who had real life issues that did that. We are sincerest condol. Everybody else, fuck you.
Everybody else has
Fuck
no
you.
excuse. But no, actually, we are like hemorrhaging Patreon money right now, so we really could use your support if you've got it to give. Because like now we're kind of getting into the red line of I'm starting to get worried numbers. So
I had to buy my own fucking microphone.
So yeah, I mean, I am starting to. These are.
I'm deducting it.
We're at bad numbers.
I'm deducting it. It's deductible.
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
deducting.
business expense. All right.
We talked about lawyer shit. I'm deducting it.
You talked about lawyer shit. That's a better deduction.
I'm deducting. I'm done.
It's a better
I'm just
basis.
deducting.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.